Born and bred in Tuscaloosa, not raised in Baton Rouge. Didn't ride no wagon train to Norman or to Boone. They said I'd never make it, just a name they overlook. Now I'm burning up their game plans and ripping up their books. No 5-star shine, no silver spoon. I came up grinding on a Friday night moons. Now they feel me coming like a 4th down blitz. Got 'em talking sideways, throwing fits. But I must admit, I can't quit. 'Cause I'm the outlaw of college football. Ain't no stripes.
I'll bring up some Oklahoma stuff real quick.
Yes.
They lost to Texas last week. I sort of saw that coming in a way. I ain't gonna lie. We got a lot of Oklahoma people on this channel. They support this channel hardcore, but a lot of people are really irate. I've done a video today about it. Even Paul Feinbaum and Matt Berry were talking about how it was a poor, horrific decision to hurry John Mateer back. Usually an injury like that takes about 4 to 5 weeks to heal. He probably shouldn't even play the South Carolina game, and they may have brought him back too early. And to me, that speaks that they said, well, he begged to play, but hey, he's a young man and he's not the leader of the team. Your coach is. Brent Venables shouldn't have gave in to him, and Brent Venables is the leader of that organization. So I think maybe Brent Venables got a little greedy and decided, hey, I need him in this game and I'm going to play him regardless. But I think it might have hurt him long term.
I mean, it's hard to argue. And, you say greedy. I'm going to say desperate because of, the Sooners are wanting a winner, and they're wanting a winner bad. This was supposed to be the year with Mateer and the new offensive coordinator and the talent that they had. And obviously they have zero faith in Michael Hawkins to win a big game, which might be fair because of the way we've seen him perform when in there, like the Texas game last year. But still, after Texas, now they go to South Carolina, which is not near as daunting as it was a few weeks ago, or it looked near as daunting. But then Ole Miss, at Tennessee, at Alabama, even with John, and then Missouri, and then LSU. Even with John Mateer quarterback, there's some games on there that are going to be really tough to win. So they probably thought, with the way the Texas offense was struggling, that Mateer being in there, they would have a better chance to win. Maybe the only chance to win, and they needed to win as many games as they could because of that tough stretch coming up. But still, yeah, they rushed him. I mean, 17 days was it with that hand injury? I mean, you just can't do that.
Well, the hand was bleeding throughout the game.
Yeah. And if he plays this week, how do you justify that?
I just don't understand it. Paul Feinbaum made a great point, and I actually touched on this with Killer Breeze a few shows back, and that if they had started Michael Hawkins, it would have allowed them to have like not, I don't know if you could call it an excuse, but at least a valid reason for losing that game, because the committee later on may look at that and say, hey, John Mateer wasn't in that game.
Right.
So we're not going to really hold that loss against them. Well, now you put John Mateer in the game and you lose by double digits. So now you don't have that excuse. You don't have that to fall back on. It would have been better, big picture. It would have been better had he just played Michael Hawkins, and the Sooner fans would have been much more forgiving, I think. Because now you got a bunch of them that's in my feed and in my inbox talking about they want him fired, man, after just one loss. As you can see here, here's an example. The stuff that I'm getting in my inbox on Facebook. This is from Calvin Glover. He sent me a meme that says Oklahoma's last touchdown against Texas was in 2023.
Yeah.
And then Johnny Johns, who's a big Oklahoma supporter and not usually one to call for someone's head, says RIP Sooner Magic and RIP Sooner Running Game. That's just a taste. I've gotten like probably 30 or 40 responses like that from people that I didn't think they would turn on him after just one game, but it feels like it was more than just one loss because of how it happened.
How it happened, who it was to. I mean, this is 3 out of 4 now that Oklahoma's lost in the Red River rivalry. And Oklahoma fans are not going to stand for that. And there are certain fan bases, their patience will run thin very quickly. Our own fan base, Alabama's guilty of that. I mean, after the loss to Florida State, there were people wanting to, hang DeBoer and run him out of town.
Yeah. Ask Bill Curry about losing Auburn and LSU every year.
Oh gosh, no kidding. But I mean, there are certain fan bases that have very thin patience because they're used to success. And Oklahoma, they've been up and down quite a bit the past couple of years. So they are hungry for that success again. And again, at the start of the year, they thought this was it. A lot of people were hyping them up, saying they could possibly be a playoff team. And we're on the cusp of them losing all that. And I think that they can probably survive with whoever quarterback against South Carolina, because South Carolina is just awful right now. So even going to Columbia, I think that Oklahoma can win a low-scoring affair like 13-10, 17-13, something like that, because the South Carolina team, their offense is horrible. They have one of the worst rushing attacks in the league, so I think that Sooner defense can carry them, probably force a turnover. The one thing that Oklahoma cannot afford to happen in this game is South Carolina is also good at forcing turnovers and special teams play. They have 6 non-offensive touchdowns on the year. If they are able to do that against Oklahoma, if they're able to get a punt return for a touchdown or a pick 6 or something like that, Sooners are going to be in trouble, because I don't know if the offense has the capability right now to play catch-up to make up for scores like that. But still, South Carolina, they're kind of like Auburn with me. I don't have any confidence in them to really win a league game because their offense is so bad. Their South Carolina, the defense is okay. They're like in the middle of the pack in scoring. They're like 9th or 10th, something like that. So not great, but they can be scored on. But you know, if John Mateer, I don't know how you justify playing him again. 3 interceptions against Texas, so that puts them at a lot of risk for turnovers versus a team that's been able to capitalize on turnovers. And I think you got to let Hawkins at least start and see what he can do. If things get really bad and the doctors say, okay, Mateer can play, maybe you try it, but I don't think you start him.
Well, if I'm John Mateer, I'm looking out for my NFL career at this point.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you risk so much continuing to put yourself out there because you know teams are going to go after that hand.
Right. Even Booger McFarland, man, he said something really, to me, pretty trashy live on the show before the game. He was like, one of them defensive linemen need to look for that hand so they can step on it. I'm like, damn, man, you said that out loud? I can't believe you said that, man.
Well, it's one of those things where you don't want people to say it, but it's true, because that's what they do. I mean, at the bottom of the pile, if you see a guy that's having some problems, you'll drive your knee into his leg, or you may try to twist that foot a little bit, or you'll step on that hand. They do some dirty stuff in those trench piles.
Like Ohio State, when they grabbed a whole handful of the Clemson guy's balls when he was laying on the field, that kind of deal.
Exactly. I mean, those guys try to hurt each other out there. I mean, let's not, let's not lie, and let's not be naive about this. So if Mateer goes out there and Dylan Stewart gets a hard hit on him and knocks him down, when Stewart gets up, he's going to put those cleats in that hand. It's going to happen.
That's right. And here's another comment. This is just a short and sweet one. I just want to, reiterate to the Oklahoma fans, this ain't me as an Alabama fan trying to pile on, because I'm usually very supportive of Oklahoma. This channel's got a lot of Oklahoma fans and Alabama fans on it. But this is just another example of someone in my comment section on the video saying, he, speaking of Brent Venables, would have been fired after the game if it were me. And I responded with, I'm not sure I would have did that, but BV definitely needs to go at least 9-3 to stay another year, in my opinion.
I mean, we'll see. I mean, right now, especially if Mateer is not 100%, if he can't heal up, if they don't allow him to heal up with some of the games they have on their schedule. I mean, they have one loss right now, and I still think I said they beat South Carolina. I think it's an early game on the SEC network. South Carolina's not playing well at all. But then you have Ole Miss that is at home, but still Ole Miss as a very good football team. And then you got back-to-back games against Tennessee and Alabama. And that's going to be tough to survive one or even both of those. It would not shock me if they lose both. And then they've got a couple of teams. Missouri could be a challenge. LSU can be a challenge. So, you could – I mean, I'm not saying it will happen, but you cannot dismiss the possibility that out of their next 1, 2, 3, 5, 6 games, they lose 4 of them. I mean, you cannot dismiss that.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to ask you as an outsider looking in as well. If Brent Venables goes 8-4 or 7-5, do they fire him?
That's tough because I don't know what his buyout is, but you got to look at the buyout. You got to look at possibly if they have another year with Mateer if he chooses to come back, because I think he does have another year of eligibility, and then what's left in the cupboard as far as talent goes. If you think with the talent that they have that Venables can turn it around next season and possibly get him the playoff, then you got to keep him. Because you don't want to blow that up. Because if you fire him, you run the risk of losing a lot of that talent with the transfer portal the way it is now. But if they go 8-4, 7-5, and some guys start leaving anyway, and you look at him and you say, no, he's not it. We need to cut bait now. Then you pull the trigger. But you got to be sure. This is not one of those things where, okay, maybe he does this, maybe he does that. If you honestly think that Venables is not the guy at this point with the talent he has, then you got to get rid of him. And
the bad thing about it is this is a really bad year to fire your coach. You got big name schools out there, huge. I mean, I don't remember this many big name schools with this many openings in one year in the middle of the year. You're going to be competing against the Floridas, the UCLAs, and Penn States, the world, man. Those are blue blood names, man, that you're going to be competing against. And a lot of the Oklahoma fans keep bringing up Kurt Cignetti, as a lot of people do. But nowadays, with teams like Indiana and Ole Miss, for example, because people talk about Lane Kiffin going to Florida,
right.
Ole Miss and Indiana, with the NIL and boosters able to put more money into the programs now. These teams are paying their coaches a lot better. I mean, Lane Kiffin's making what, $9 million a year. The guy at Missouri, Eli Drinkowitz, he's making $9 million a year.
Yeah.
So these mid-card programs are what you consider in the past that you can go filch their coach. I don't think you can do that anymore. I mean, because why would they leave those programs anyway and go to a program like Florida or Oklahoma or somewhere like that where the pressure is going to be a lot worse? Whereas if Lane Kiffin, for example, stays at Ole Miss, he's a god there. He can go 8-4 every year and not get fired.
The one guy, and I don't know if he would accept the job. I'm not saying that he would, but with the success that he's had and the connection that he has to Oklahoma, and I think there might have been some strife there when he was there as the offensive coordinator, but I'm not sure if I remember that correctly. But still, even if that's the case, there's some new leadership there with their AD retired recently. The one person I make the first call to and make him say no, at least, is Josh Heupel. He's done well at Tennessee. It's his alma mater. And that's the first person I call because he's won. He's done well at Tennessee. Come home, Josh. We'll pay you what you want. We'll give you what you want. Make Oklahoma great again. Make your home college, your home university, up there where it should be. Pitch that to him. If he says no, fine. But you got to make that call. That is the first call I make if I'm Oklahoma's AD is Josh Heupel.
Yeah, because that's a special circumstance where you could actually get a quality coach that's proven himself somewhat. And plus, we know how some of the Tennessee behind-the-scenes stuff works, where the field formal crowd always meddling and stuff. There may be some strife there that we don't know about. And Josh Heupel may be like, hey, this would be a great way for me to get out. Plus, I would, like you said, he would be considered a hometown hero, so to speak, coming home. He may not be from Norman, but he was there for 3 or 4 years, so it's like home to him, and it would be probably a good fit for him, and they would definitely welcome him back. Turd Ferguson says Brent Venables needs another season. I'd say we are loyal. I'd hope for another one, no doubt. It might be in your best interest, even if you don't want to keep him for another year. It might be in your best interest as far as being able to get a coach and not have to compete against all these big name schools for a coach.